Okay, so I got my camera plugged in now. Sorry for the confusion. So I'm going to put it at the intro timestamp is going to be at 30 seconds today. Hi, Kayla's lovely. Thank you for coming. This is just math homework. This is a multi-purpose notebook. It's good to see you today. So I did want to talk about something. At the beginning of this video. I don't always talk at the beginning of the videos, and I don't know how many people will end up watching this later. But I think sometimes it's helpful. I didn't start this channel because I'm a super chill person. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I started this channel because I needed to find ways to create chillness, to maintain a chill environment in my life that would be conducive to me having a good life. And I had gotten pretty far by the time I started the channel. There are always these little things that I have to deal with, one of which is road rage. And I've really, really gotten better about that. Because it's quite dangerous. But every day I try to work a little bit harder to get to a point where these things don't bother me. But if you have times where you backslide, that's okay. It's part of the process. It has the potential to hold you back in the long term, of course, just like any other mistake. But that's just what they are, mistakes. And it's important to be able to make mistakes and not dwell on them. And also to not beat yourself up too much about it and realize that it's all part of the process and that you're trying overall to become a better person. So this is my ashes and natron. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of this. Now that my hand's all wet from my soda can, I'm just going to sprinkle that. I think a lot of us are drawn to ASMR because we deal with these issues, because we're confronting them within ourselves. So today we're going to be reading for the earth signs. That is Taurus, Virgo, and And the cards that I'm using this week is my plastic tarot deck that I like a lot. I love using these. You can see I'm still kind of getting my new setup figured out. I'm also going to go after this over to the members side of the channel and do some crystal scrying. So let's start with the sign of Taurus. Taurus, sun, moon, rising, Venus, Mars, whatever Taurus situation you want to know about. I am impartial to cross-watchers. If you want to cross-watch, that's your own business. Hold on, there's something coming through. We were watching you from afar and deemed your behavior inappropriate. Yeah, I bet. It's very difficult to maintain everything that everyone expects from you all the time. I just started this new job, and there's been a lot coming back up because of that. The job itself is lovely. The people who work there, lovely. But I just have a lot of baggage that I'm trying to work through. And I keep thinking that I'm going to screw this up. I'm going to screw this up. So before I get started on the Taurus reading, let me just gently clear that energy. And this is the exercise we do at the beginning anyway. Taurus, if there's any energy that you would like to clear related to the intention that you're setting for the reading today. If any of these things are stressful to you or causing you turmoil, I invite you to inhale and draw into yourself the divine white light of Source. And then exhale. And as you're releasing all of that tension, all of that energy, just release that back to Source, and it will be transmuted. That includes any physical discomfort that you detect throughout your corporeal body as well. Not a full body scan necessarily, but just like a little miniature body scan. All right, Taurus. So let's see what is going on here for you today. And excuse me, I am going to be kind of gassy today if I'm drinking this Diet Dr. Pepper, so I apologize for that. You know I can't resist the Diet Dr. Pepper. Okay. So the first card that we have is going to be in the past. And this card is somewhat associated with you, Taurus, in that we have the Empress here. And she is associated with your ruling planet, which is Venus, which also rules the sign of Libra. Now, the Empress card, she's somebody who kind of passively waits for people to bring her things. She does have her own independent power. Sometimes the Empress can be associated with the active energy of traditionally feminine lines of work. That is also a possibility. And the Empress, somebody who can be associated with divine feminine and motherly energy. This could be a project that took a long time to develop for you, Taurus, as well, just as pregnancy takes a long time to develop. It's a similar creative energy. It's that passive creative energy. For some of you, the Empress could also have been a love interest entering your life. But the Empress, as the Divine Mother, can also be talking about your own relationship with your mother. So let's get a little deeper into it, shall we? This is the significator. Now, I wouldn't be too alarmed. Sagittarius also got this card in the place of the significator, and their crossing card was much tougher than yours, Taurus. We have the Three of Swords in the place of the significator. This can be arguments. It can be strife. It could be tension with this Empress figure, whoever this is, if that's a person in your life. It could be tension within that situation. Now, your stance on this is that you're taking kind of a wait and see approach, that you are not putting yourself out there necessarily and instigating situations, but rather that you're taking care of yourself, you're being gentle with yourself in regards to this situation. So down here in the MMC lie, this is going to be all of the origins and foundations upon which the midheaven, the goal or destiny, is built. So the card that we have down in the MMC lie is the Page of Cups. This is an excellent card for receiving offers. Sometimes the fish can mean money. The Page of Cups would be earth of water energy. So sometimes this can be an emotional offer from somebody. Do you want to go out on a date? Something like that, where the emotional energy is being brought down and made tangible on the physical plane. That's the Page of Cups. From your perspective, Taurus, there's something here in which you think that you do not have a choice. And it is this Two of Swords in the reverse. Maybe you feel like you've already made your choice, or maybe you feel like the choice was not yours to begin with, that you did not get to be the one to make a choice in a particular situation. And that being the case, it might have to do with this offer. And that offer might even be something like a peace offering. So this very well could be, for some of you, a relationship with a powerful woman, possibly even a relationship with a mother. that maybe I wouldn't hazard a guess as to what all of your relationships with your mother might have been like. But the Page of Cups could be this offer coming in from this person. And you might feel like you don't really have a choice. Maybe this person is sick. Maybe they, have other things going on with them. Maybe there were extenuating circumstances, and you understand intimately why this person might have had the reactions that they did, or why things might have gone down a particular way. And because of that, you don't feel comfortable. Either you don't feel comfortable having them around you, and that has taken your choice away, or you don't feel comfortable pushing them away. From an outside perspective looking in, we have the Four of Pentacles, and it's showing up in the reverse. Excuse me, I do beg your pardon. The Four of Pentacles in the reverse like this can be about either holding on too tightly to something or not holding on tightly enough. And the implications in this particular situation, you could be holding on to your emotions too tightly, or your energy. The pentacles, of course, are material resources, but can also represent resources like your energy, your emotional energy, your physical energy. And in this situation, it might be very difficult for you to open up. And we do see here that you're conserving your energy with this other four that we have, the Four of Swords. So we have an active four, we have a passive four then showing up in the reverse. So you are, even though you are taking care of yourself, you are doing so in an active way. You're doing so in a conscious way. It's not just the reservation of resources that comes from this Four of Pentacles energy. Here in the future, we have the Queen of Wands in the reverse. So the potential is there for somebody to show up as a confident and witty and charming personality. But the potential is also there in this situation for catty behavior, for rumor mongering. The Queen of Wands sometimes not standing in her full confidence in the reverse like this. So this Empress did show up in the upright in the past, but I think mostly that indicates that this person is still in your life somehow. Somebody you've known for a long time. Could be a mother, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a mother, right? This would be somebody who maybe has a more passive energy. Could be an ex, or it could be a long-term relationship that's very tumultuous. It could be another maternal figure in your life, an aunt, an older sister. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a woman either. This could also just be somebody who has maybe passive-aggressive tendencies, somebody who shows up in a very feminine type energy. We do have two cards depicting this woman, right? So definitely could be a woman. The Empress, of course, is balanced in the elemental energy of both earth and air through that association with Venus. Queen of Wands being fire sign energy, so that in the future there's definitely like this passion and this action associated with that figure. And you hope that they're channeling those things in the correct direction. So here in your hopes and fears, we have the Nine of Swords in the reverse. We've got this woman, her face is in her hands like this. And of course, the nightmares, the fugue states. But you're hoping this won't be stressful for you, Taurus. Whatever this is, whether we're looking at your relationship with the mother, whether we're looking at this turmoil, that you are being very gentle with yourself about, which is good. Could be a broken heart too, that Three of Swords. And you hoping that this will not be stressful to you. The midheaven, so this offer that ends up getting made. This could be from this person. It has to do with an inheritance, possibly. That Ten of Pentacles can be a financial completion, a cycle of financial energy completing. Can also be about inheritance. We have this older gentleman sitting here in the corner of the card. These two people over here, who, and the child, who stand to inherit his estate. That might be what's at stake here for you. And that might be why you feel like you don't have a choice. There's either some kind of legacy wealth that stands in the balance or hangs in the balance, despite the feelings that you have about your relationship with this person. The final outcome card has a lot to do with like the advice for the situation. And is related to tying up some of these loose ends. Sometimes people's motivations also are reflected here because it's in opposition to the card having to do with other people's perspectives. And the card that we have showing up is the Seven of Swords in the reverse. There's not a conniving energy associated with this. There's not a backstabbing energy. This person is not out to get you. But the problem is that they might not be in a position to have the best parts of their character shine through. And the more intimately you become involved with another human being, sometimes the more complete a picture you get of them, for better or for worse. Just what I was talking about in the intro, that, you know, we all have our struggles, and the struggles of other people can overlap into our own lives in a way that is not conducive for us. And that's why boundaries are super important. And so I feel like it might have been difficult then to set boundaries with this person, especially if they're showing up as this Queen of Wands in the reverse. I would say take the offer, Taurus. But make sure that you're able to make your own stipulations in the situation moving forward. I think that you will be able to negotiate that if you operate from the understanding that this person does not mean you ill. The strife the arguments, the discord in the situation is not coming from a place of malice. It's coming from a place of misunderstandings, and furthermore, misunderstanding of the self, and this person not being able to understand themselves and their own motivations leaks out into all of their intimate partnerships with their children, with their spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, etc. So that is going to conclude the Taurus reading for today. Thank you for coming. I will be going after this to the member side of the channel to do some crystal scrying. This is a beautiful piece of mica that I got while I was fossil hunting in Simi Valley. And that is the crystal I'm using for scrying this week. Hi, Ultra. Well, I do stream once a day, and I try to stream at the same time every day. I think I'm going to be shifting my schedule a little bit next week. I might be starting my live streams an hour or so later, but I will keep you updated. I also want to mention that I do offer personal readings of different kinds, and if you want to ask a question, you can hit me up with a super chat, and I will squeeze it in, or rather, tuck it in, not squeeze, tuck it in between the earth sign readings. So now we're going to move on to the sign of Virgo, which of course, as a Virgo rising, is pertinent to my own interests. I'm a very, I wouldn't say type A personality per se. Oh, interesting. I dated a Virgo in high school, but I don't know what the rest of his chart was. And my son is a Virgo. My son is Virgo, and I think he has a Taurus moon and Gemini rising. Incredibly balanced personality. I don't know how much credit I can take for that, other than picking good genes. So Virgo, if you would like, take some deep and balanced breaths while you set your intention. As you inhale, draw into yourself the divine white light of Source. And as you exhale, hold on. As you exhale, release any tension, any discomfort, anything that's no longer serving you. Those energies will be returned to Source, and they will be transmuted. I had some jumpers, so I have to figure out how to handle the jumpers. I usually put them in the place of the significator because that's the first thing I deal out, and it kind of dictates the general energy of the reading. Okay. So Virgo. The first card here in your past is the Eight of Swords. The floor is lava. Where are you going to stand? The Eight of Swords, you have been feeling kind of trapped, possibly. There are ways out of your situation, but you might not be ready to take the steps, or you might not see how you can take those steps. Or you might just generally be feeling not at ease and uncomfortable enough that you're afraid if you make any sudden movements, that it's going to disrupt everything. All the swords are going to go clattering to the ground, and you have the possibility of being injured or worse. Now, this is something that started in the past and is perpetuating into the current situation. So let's find out some more about that. The cards that I had come out for that, we have the Five of Pentacles, which is coming from a place of scarcity. You could be feeling at this time like you don't have enough resources to provide for yourself. You could also be concerned about being able to procure resources. Or you could feel like there are too many stipulations on the resources that are available. Because remember, too, that this implies that it's the window of a church, that they could go inside and get help. But oftentimes there are stipulations to that help when you approach the church. And even if this is one of those really good churches where they don't have stipulations, there's no way to know until you get inside. The crossing energy for this Five of Pentacles is the Hanged Man in the reverse. So again, we're looking at this stuckness. In this particular case, you are just about ready to chew off your own foot to free yourself from the trap, which is also another form of scarcity. Now, typically, I do not read the crossing card energy as reversed. So the reason I did that was because of how the jumpers came out, that the Hanged Man was clearly in the reverse. Here in the MMCLI, we do have a relationship. It could be a love partnership. Certainly, the Two of Cups is the most love partnership-y card in the deck by my estimation. However, this can also be emotional bonds of all kinds. So oftentimes the Two of Cups would even be a very close friendship, the kind in which you are mutually vested in the other person, maybe even roommates. Oh my God, they were roommates. There's passion there. So either passion for a joint venture, passion between the two individuals. We have that Echo of Wand energy there, but it is the caduceus. So that has to do with communication. We're tying in that mercurial energy, and has a lot of mobility to it as well. So this relationship is going to provide the foundation for what we're going to be looking at in the goal or destiny position up in the midheaven. And it's in the upright, so this is probably not the reason that you're feeling stuck. The relationship itself may or may not be bolstering you, keeping you going. From your perspective, Virgo, we have the Star card in the upright. And the stars not just about your hopes and dreams being fulfilled, which I think that you do see a great deal of this happening. And just because this is happening doesn't also mean that you can't be in a place of scarcity or feel trapped. You can see a lot of great things opening up for you and still kind of feel like things are not moving fast enough or like you should be doing more. The star card also is Aquarius's card, and therefore we're tying in some of those 11th house elements of social groups. And the way that the star is pouring out the water, symbolic of our emotional energies, back into the pool from whence it came, and here watering the ground. So that has to do with the energy, the emotional energy that we're dedicating to our social groups as well. So at this time, you could be doing things to foster your social presence, not necessarily on social media exclusively. You could be reaching out to your friends. It can have to do with your partnership with this person, this close knit relationship. Notice too that on the one of the best features of the Five of Pentacles is that these two people are together. And they might not be happy at this particular time, but they are sticking through it together. From an outside person's perspective, looking in on your situation, Virgo, we have the Nine of Pentacles, and this card, the person is very independent. So whoever is looking in on you from the outside does view your independence probably favorably, and sees you as somebody who has financial resources available to them and material resources. Enough for oneself, that's the Three of Pentacles here, and enough to invest or to give. Now, I do want to point out that the Imam Selah, we've got the Two of Cups, that's a partnership card. The significator, we have that Five of Pentacles, so those two people are together. Some of these cards are very solitary. Your perspective of yourself is the Star. That is putting yourself alone within the midst of a social group. We also have, the Nine of Pentacles, the infamously single lady, right? And even the Eight of Swords. This figure is alone here. So a lot of this is going on in your own self. There's a journey of the self going on within the framework of this partnership. And it could be that your partner is going through some very similar things at this time too, whether this is a friend, roommate, lover, etc. Here in the future, we have the World card in the reverse. Excuse me, Virgo. I apologize. This is fixed energy and has a lot to do with establishment and concretion. Whatever resolution it is that you're hoping for is going to take longer to unfold. So the World card in the reverse, sometimes I see this as like divine timing. And the World card is very similar in some ways to the Wheel of Fortune, in that the Wheel of Fortune card also features the fixed signs, and we're talking about the upswing, right? There's also a cyclical nature to that Wheel of Fortune card, whereas the World is the resolution, everything being tied up. Not like the Eight of Swords, all the loose ends being resolved and tied to keep them from fraying anymore, ever again. But of course, then the new cycle begins. So, hearing your hopes and fears. We have the Six of Pentacles reversed. You're afraid that you're not going to have enough to share. You're afraid that you're going to have to take charity, that you are going to have more of your resources being expended than will be coming back in. And this is in opposition to the star. So if you'll notice, there's commonalities between the star and the Six of Pentacles. Here, she's pouring out the emotional energies into the social groups. Here, he is providing for others. There seems to be kind of a transactional element to some of your social dynamics. So maybe not necessarily with this person that you're very close to, but definitely so overall. That maybe you see a lot of things as being very tit for tat, and that you do favors for people who do favors for you, or that if you have someone do a favor for you, that you then feel very obligated to follow up with that person and either pay it forward or pay it back, which is not necessarily the worst way to look at things, but you really want to maintain a balance because it's leaving you feeling this sense of lack. And it could be a contributing factor to these feelings of being stuck or being trapped because you come from this place where you feel like you don't have enough to give, that it's going to be sufficient to buy your way into heaven, so to speak, in the good graces of other people. And it's not always about that. Even like I was just talking to my friend about the movie The Jerk, right? One of the things I love about that movie with Steve Martin is that even though this guy is a jerk, he is beloved by many people. He's not ostracized. He has not been shunned by society. He is allowed to continue to exist. And if there's hope for him, there's hope for all of us. It is a fictional movie, but I'm sure some of those things are based on real life. So let's look at the Imam Silai. Or we're going to look at the midheaven. That's going to be based on the Imam Silai, where we have this partnership. And here we have the Ace of Pentacles showing up in the reverse. This is a very complex energy in this reading because of all of the things that I was saying about this transactional nature to the relationships around you. That money's not an object in this particular situation, but that because of that, it might be holding one or both of you back insofar as making these new beginnings to earn more money or to obtain more resources. That's something about the dynamic in this particular relationship is kind of, oh wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense. Because I usually don't read the Two of Cups explicitly as like a lover's card, but more of like a roommate situation. or like a very closely tied friendship dynamic, which is what it should be with your love partner anyway, might I point out. You should have all of the same affection and partnership dynamics in your friendships and in your love relationships, in my opinion. But this is very interesting because, especially in the context of like feeling trapped by things, that this Ace of Pentacles would represent the resources that could get you out of a lot of these situations. That there's something about the dynamic in this relationship that is holding that back somehow. Similarly, like how on the Five of Pentacles, these two people are together. They're in it together. And maybe this person suggested, hey, why don't we go in there? And this person says, I really can't. I stole from the collection plate there one time. And I just don't want to ever show my face there again, you know? And I certainly don't judge, right? We all have our reasons for doing things. Especially if one of the partners in that relationship views the other person as more like a provider, someone who is financially independent. That is going to create a strain on that person. Oh, yeah, that's what I've heard. Los Angeles isn't great. But honestly, like, I think some of the other areas in California are worse than Los Angeles. Like, the Bay is crazy, of course, but it's the volatility that makes it really bad because you can easily get priced out of something that you were able to afford before, and that's what makes it really dangerous. So yes, I agree with you that in San Diego there's probably a dynamic of that going on. So Virgo, the final outcome card. Oh wow. Yeah, that's insane. I don't know if I would pay that much in rent. No offense to them, of course. Everybody has their reasons, like I said. The final outcome card for you, Virgo, is the Knight of Swords in the reverse. So that normally the Knight of Swords, when he's in the upright, is about the morally correct road to take. But when this card shows up in the reverse, it can be vocal support for a position which is not good. The Knight of Swords in the reverse could represent somebody who is alt-right, who's very regressive, who is willing to cut people, also willing to cut people off or out of their lives at the drop of a hat. It is fire of air energy, so it's a very active energy, not the fully fledged discernment, but a binary discernment where there's clearly good and clearly bad, and there's not a lot of gray area in between to navigate. And this is showing up in opposition to this Nine of Pentacles. So it could be a situation where somebody is really not making the choices that they feel are right, but using that binary discernment and choosing things that they know to not be the right thing. And that is what is going to hold this back long term for everyone involved in that partnership situation. and is probably why you're feeling trapped, Virgo. So that is going to conclude the Virgo reading for this week. I will be going after this over to the members side of the channel to do some crystal scrying with this piece of mica that I acquired while fossil hunting in Simi Valley. I will also answer personal questions if you submit a super chat, and I will fit them in between the signs readings. Those things are all available, but of course, your participation in the channel is appreciated in whatever form it takes. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that, Ultra. And I'm sorry to hear about that situation. I do understand. You know, when you are very intimately acquainted with another person, you are going to see more sides of that person than anyone else will ever know exist. So now I'm going to move on to the sign of Capricorn. And we do have still some things going on in Capricorn, in that Pluto is in Capricorn still. And I think we'll be moving into Aquarius soon, but not soon enough. Not soon enough. And then I guess that'll bring its own set of challenges and growth. That's the key to all of these things, really, is seeing them as growth and not seeing them as tribulations. So Capricorn, if you would like to go ahead, set your intention for the reading and allow all of those thoughts associated with that intention to rise up into the forefront of your mind. If this is something that is causing you stress or discomfort, and I can tell already that it might be, go ahead and take a deep breath in. Oh, thank you, Ultra. I really appreciate that. And draw in the divine white light of Source. And then as you exhale, do like a little mini body scan. Release any tension you might be holding on to. Release any of the discomfort. Release anything that you would like to let go of. So let me write down the timestamp, because this Capricorn reading, I feel bad for anybody who is cusp Capricorn and Sagittarius this week. These readings have been a lot to deal with. So before I really get into the whole reading, you have 4 big major arcana cards in your reading. You also have 3 out of the 4 tens. And the 10 that you're missing is, of course, the 10 that came up in Taurus's reading, which was the 10 of Pentacles. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get into it, and we'll unpack all of this as we go. So, Capricorn, we have in the past for you, we do have an emotional cycle coming to a close for you in a satisfactory way. This is in the upright, and it is the 10 of Cups, which is a very happy card. It is emotional satiety. Now, this card is also upright, showing me that this condition continues into the current situation. So that things might not necessarily be bad. It's just a lot, but it's not bad. But like people always say that about tarot. There's no bad cards. You can just tell when somebody's going through a lot. So the place of the significator, we have the Death card, change, transformation, scorpionic energies. That's like one of my favorite tarot card reader sayings on YouTube, scorpionic energies. Death, sex, and other people's resources, right? Well, transformation. And it comes for everyone in its own time. You don't necessarily get to pick. Sometimes you do get to pick, Capricorn, but a lot of times you don't. And I can tell this is one of those times where you probably don't, because we have the Moon card showing up as the crossing energy. So there's probably a lot of these elements of this that you are getting to make the decision about, getting to make that call. But then as far as all of the details concerned, things are unclear. The path forward is not well lit. And it is difficult to discern how everything is going to turn out in the end. Down here in the MMCLI, we have one of our beloved tens. We have the 10 of Wands, and it is reversed. So you are casting off burdens at this time. You are casting off oppression. And that is going to establish the foundation upon which the goal or destiny will be built that we'll be looking at in the midheaven. Capricorn, you perceive yourself in your own energy in the major arcana. So another big major arcana card coming out with the Devil. This can be freeing yourself from all of these things that you have controlling you, that you allow to control you, that you perceive to have control over you, but maybe don't. You are freeing yourself of those things at this time. From an outside person's perspective, this is a very interesting perspective because we have the 10 of Swords and it's in the reverse. So we had this Death card in the upright. Clearly, big changes are going on for you right now. My favorite Sanrio character. Big challenges. That's a lie. Everyone knows I love my melody. Let's get back to the reading. But because things are so unclear, people around you have no idea that this is going on. They might not know that this transformation is occurring for you. They might think that everything's just business as usual where you're concerned. Here in the future. Hi, Matt Grimm. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming. So Capricorn, here in the future, you're going to be letting your guard down about something. It could be about all the big changes that are coming through. It could be to get advice. It could be because you no longer feel the need to be guarded. You've come to the end of that emotional cycle. Your hopes and fears. We have the Five of Wands, and that's showing up in the reverse. So you don't want to be in competition with other people anymore. Even though there are benefits to rivalry and competition, where you can pick up new skills, you can surmount new challenges. I think you don't want to do that anymore. And this card, the hopes and fears, is in opposition to your self image, your ideation about the current situation, which of course you are showing up in your reading here with the Devil card. And perhaps some of the things involved in this that you're casting off at this time are jealousy, or the need to control things, or other such similar issues that might be exacerbated by an environment where competition is a big part of the overall mechanism by which things occur. And if you look, this is a very chaotic card. Even though overall it's not a bad card, there are a lot of positive attributes to it as well. There's a lot of chaos there, and that has a tendency to muddy the waters. So I think that's another thing that's coming through with that moon card at this time. Now we're going to look at the result of you casting off these burdens and oppression. And up here in the midheaven for you, Capricorn, we have the King of Cups in the upright. Now, this King of Cups is a provider. This is active air energy, coupled with compassionate and passive water energy. So we have the logical mind, we have the emotional mind, coming together in a good balance. This is actively nurturing energy. So somebody who's a provider, somebody who's a mentor, somebody who cares for others in an active sense, not just taking on a maternal role where there is emotional support given, but also providing financially or through opportunity also. And that could be you coming through in the future. But you're going to have to let your guard down in order to make that happen, Capricorn. The final outcome for you is the Fool in the upright. Now, Capricorn, the final outcome card kind of ties up loose ends, but it can also give you advice on the what to do in the situation of the reading. And so where we have the Fool card coming out, and especially because we have this Moon card as the crossing energy, you don't need to see what's coming. You don't need to know what is ahead of you, what is in front of you, for it to be magnificent and beneficial in your life. Leave yourself open to possibility by letting your guard down, casting off your burdens, and remember the Fool packs light. The Fool does not carry along a lot of baggage. So make sure that you are shedding anything that is not going to serve you. Oh, thank you, Matt Grimm. I really appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. Your chart is very intriguing. How do you feel about that Sagittarius rising? Oh, and Pisces moon. Wow, that's a very interesting coupling of those mutable energies. Sometimes moon in Pisces comes with some challenges. I mean, everything does, right? Oh, and Venus Scorpio retrograde. I bet that, along with that Pisces moon, is very exciting. Thank you for sharing, Matt. And I hope you don't mind me breaking it down just a little bit. So that is going to conclude the Capricorn reading for this week. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you for joining me for the live stream today. Whether you watch it live and participate in the chat, or watch it later, like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to go now and do the crystal scrying over on the member side of the channel. You are cordially invited, but your presence here is greatly appreciated, no matter what form it takes. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you again. Very soon. Oh, Matt, I definitely used to talk more about that in the, I was doing weekly astro readings, so maybe I'll do some more of that. I look forward to seeing you soon.